Hello everybody and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Orchid, and looking at the top lists of cryptocurrency for gains and losses, as well as this article with Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey and what's been kind of hinted and suggested that could happen, as well as I will give you my own opinion about what other major player that I personally think might get in the game and could really end up making it skyrocket for Bitcoin in particular. So if you guys are new to the channel and you would like to see more cryptocurrency, technical analysis, news information, things like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you can, please make sure you hit that thumbs up, that like button right there. It can help us in the discoverability with more people to come and find this video. And your takeaway on everything that we talk about, let us know in the comments down below. So I'll go ahead and start off with this article, which is very bullish in its sentiments, suggesting towards Bitcoin's price going up if Jack Dorsey decides to get in the game. And so this was talked about with trader Willy Woo. He was hinting on Twitter that maybe if Jack Dorsey gets in, he's got $10 billion. $10 billion capital in cash that belongs to Twitter and Square, because he's actually tied with both of those, that he could put into Bitcoin. 1% of 5 trillion of spare capital funds is enough to push Bitcoin's capital to 2 trillion. To 2 trillion. I would love to see Bitcoin go up to 2 trillion for its market cap. Please. Oh, please, baby. If that happens tomorrow, a lot of things would be changing in my life, and I'm sure it would be changing a lot in your guys' life too. MicroStrategy, though, as far as the adoption rate goes, it took them about 6 months to deploy to get into Bitcoin, because there's a hierarchy inside of your corporation. You got to get approvals with everybody, and everybody be's in agreement, and the whole voting situations, things like that, right? Because this is also a very big decision to be putting that kind of money into Bitcoin. And so you have the average publicly listed company. It may take them around 9 to 12 months, the same process. Start your timers. 2021 will be interesting. This is what he's suggesting. So this is actually from MicroStrategy CEO, which he recently described it. And I made a previous video where I had talked a little bit about this. And if you want to check out that video, you can, just to see what my kind of thoughts were at the time. But I was actually wrong on that video. I was looking at it on a very micro time frame, and I was trying to nail down when it was that they had just spent this large amount of money. I think it was like $175 million or so. It just happened. Like, hey, let's see if we can figure out just when that took place. Turns out that they had done it progressively over several days. So they said to acquire 16,796 Bitcoin, we traded continuously for 74 hours, executing 88,617 trades. Think about that, 88,617. That's more trades than an average trader would ever trade in their whole life. Think of it that way. By far, way, way, way more. And they did all that over the course of 74 hours. 88,617 trades, 0.19 Bitcoin each 3 seconds. $39,414 in Bitcoin per minute, but at all times we were ready to purchase 30 to 50 million in a few seconds if we got lucky with a 1 to 2% downward spike. Jack Dorsey oversees $10 billion that's inflating away, right? That whole idea is that because of inflation, the value of the currency that you have in fiat is going down. You could say, hey, I've got $10 billion, but the $10 billion next year is going to be worth quite a bit less because of the devaluation of the dollar. So you want to try and have some of your assets into something that appreciates in value, and that's why a lot of people look at Bitcoin. I hope you guys didn't hear my stomach. I'm sorry. I'm getting hungry. Been a busy day. And so taking a look over here on the Bitcoin charts. Interestingly enough, this green line, I've talked about it in many of my videos. I just on a whim drew this little line here because if you look back, we had double tops that took place back at the $20,000 range, $14,000 range, now around the $12,500 range, and it could potentially, if it did have a continuation with this, end up climbing back further down. but a lot of people are getting into the game, especially the big money players. I think the likelihood of this happening is definitely less than it continuing to go up. I drew this just strictly on speculation, which, by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I'm saying is my own opinion. You guys should always do more of your own research and stuff, but I hope you find these videos interesting and the news information helpful, and the technical analysis potentially helping you make a little bit more of a better decision on your own. And I appreciate all you guys being here. And those of you guys that are returning, it's really nice to see you guys again. I appreciate all of your guys' support. And yeah, so taking a look at this right here, we're right on that cusp of making $11,000. You know, it would be great before we end this video if it actually passes $11,000 and we're seeing a little bit of a continuation. That'd be kind of nice. But if it starts to drop immediately right after I upload the video super hard, that would not be so kind of nice. And we're just kind of waiting right now. We're on this cusp where we need to try and go above $11,000 and actually hold it. And you can see that it hasn't been doing that. It goes above and then pulls right back. You can see on this right here, we got 1, 2, 3 days in a row. If it happens today, that'll be 4 days in a row, right? It has to try and go above and hold and then have a continuation on it. It's above the 21 EMA, which is absolutely great. The RSI is right in that median zone. So not overbought, not oversold. It's better. It's basically sitting on the sidelines, waiting to make a move. And it's got a pretty wide space for the relative strength index perspective to be able to go either way. We had this big massive drop, as you guys remember, down here, and with that big drop we saw a lot of different altcoins being affected, but one thing that is actually working out really well, which I'm going to go ahead and pull up on this chart right now, is Uniswap. Uniswap just went over to Coinbase, and almost like a tradition, when something drops on Coinbase, it starts to do pretty well. I got in on Loopring. I mentioned this in a previous video. I don't know if you guys got in on Loopring or not, the LRC, but I saw a nice little bit of a gain on that. So I'm happy with that. But I gotta say, and I don't know if you guys are the same way, please let me know in the comments down below with this, but boy, there are some really, really enticing projects. Some of these tokens, I wish that I was way richer so that I could really settle myself in nicely with each of these. But you know, they say with investing, never invest more than what you're willing to risk to lose, right? So I do a little bit so I can get myself my feet wet and in the game, potentially make a profit off of it. But if that totally tanks, something happens to it, I'm okay. And I got other projects, I'm okay. I can take some gains off of it, cool. Might not be as much as what I would like for some of those, but you know, doing what I can, right? So got my feet wet, cool. Loopring, positive. Uniswap, same thing, got in on it. It's up a little bit too. Didn't have as much of the gain as what this is kind of talking about. I didn't get in like immediately with it. For Uniswap, I actually got in personally at $5.44 range for me, just like as a little side thing if you guys are curious. So it's up a little bit in my comparison. Celsius, ABBC coin, NEM, these are the biggest gainers that you can see. Pushing all the way down. VeChain, Loopring at number 53 as far as the market capitalization goes. 6.3% increase as well. So a couple gainers. And then if you take a look here as far as the biggest losers go, Hyperion, Celo, I believe is how you pronounce that. As far as big names that we kind of recognize, Band Protocol. I actually talked about Band Protocol before, and seeing this steady decline right here, I'm a little bit curious, and I'm curious if you guys are curious. That's a lot of curiosity for us. Wow, did I really just do that? As to why exactly this has been steadily declining, because it does look like a big, good, strong proponent, competitor against somebody like Chainlink. So I'm curious about that. Algorand, you can see it's also dropped down a bit there. You got OMG, it's dropped a bit. Chainlink itself has also dropped down a bit. You can even see the chart for Chainlink has been having a steadily dropping decline right here, almost pushing it to the brink of the $10 range, which when you think about it, it had hit its high just about $20. if you got in even at the $10 range and it was able to re-achieve the $20 range again, let's just say hypothetically it was, then you're looking at a 2 times return on that. And a lot of people do have interest in Chainlink. A lot of people are interested in its actual project and has a very promising future. So I would keep an eye out on that, especially Tezos. A lot of people really interested in that, but it is down minus 4.44%. And let's go back here just for a second to Bitcoin. I love my Fibonacci retracements. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this bad boy up right here just for a minute, kind of see, since we've had this big drop down, how are we kind of doing right now? And passing right off, just touching the top of that 0.786. I would honestly say that 11,000, we've been going above it, but if we can actually break 11,100, I would feel much more bullish, much more bullish. It bounced off of that, and it's been attempting to try and even get back to that point. So I would like to see on the bull trend side if it could pass above 11,100. On the bearish side, that 21 EMA is right on the 0.618. So my laser vision is focused right there on 10,800. That's my concern of possibly a further continuation down. Then following into the 0.5 sequence and so on. And the next thing you know, you got the $10,000 range. So let's talk about Orchid now. And with Orchid, what are you doing to me, guys? What is going on? Interestingly enough, if you guys don't know this, I love Orchid. I love the project. I think it's got a great future. Personally, that's my own belief and my opinion. This thing has so much potential. But I've been bearish on a lot of these recent videos. I've been thinking that looking at the charts, that it's more likely for it to go down. And I've accumulated more, but please, please Orchid, just start going up now. I feel like I've bought enough of the dips. I'm dipping in the bottom of my pockets at this point. I don't have more change. If I go any further down, I'm gonna be pulling on my socks. That's a visual for you, right? And yeah, so taking a look at this, we do have on the daily, it is up about 1.5%. Yesterday, it had dipped, this is a massive candle, it dipped all the way down to just about 25 points, 0.2561, just a little more than 25.5 cents. Geez, we're saying half a cent. Apparently I have a hair in my mouth too. Boy, don't you love my technical analysis? You don't get this with all those fancy edited videos from other people, right? They'd be like, hey, edit out that hair. All right. So I'm actually going to take this back, and I want to look at it on a much bigger scale. Let's be a little bit more realistic with this range that we had back here. Right? Just, yeah, maybe just a little bit more down. Right about there, roughly. So looking at this range here, from the high that we had at $1 to all the way at the low, which was essentially this long consolidated zone, you can see that 21 EMA was like a pool of water that no disturbances had taken place, right? And then somebody all of a sudden dropped a rock, and we saw this massive ripple up, kind of a bounce down and trickling its way back. I don't know if it's going to fall flat again, but you can take a look here on the RSI. It's on the verge of being oversold. The technical chart, which is right over here, it's the same as it was yesterday. I talked about this. It was on the sell side. But taking a look here, where could we possibly be seeing it go next? Well, this descending wedge that I had, that is now changed. So there's a new bottom line support again. It's actually starting to broaden itself out even more and gives a much wider gap during this space. And we have quite a bit to try and work to get back up into the 0.236 range. Most of this time period, it looks like approximately a little bit more than a third of this entire space has actually taken place below the 0.236 range, below the 37 cent range. So if we can break above 37 cents, I would be a lot more bullish personally. And, you know, this is where technical analysis comes in. There's so many different things that you can use. And some people feel that certain technical analysis tools are more reliable than others. It's all very subjective. I really like these, and I feel like these have been very reliable in me basing a lot of information. I notice a lot of different YouTubers that are very big proponents in technical analysis charts. They tend to use this as well. So I like the Fibonacci retracement personally. So if we can break above that, cool. If not, we could see this breaking below this support line, which the new support line, which has been established yet again at this point, is now looking at 25 cents. If it drops below 25 cents, it's, geez. I mean, we had right here, it bottom out at that like 24.5 cent range. And then further down there is essentially where we were right back from square one. So you could be very theoretically speaking going all the way back down to 20 cents. Which if it does that, I feel like it's going to be kind of hard for it to have another big rally like this in the short term. Maybe a year from now. I know some people were speculating on this, saying that a year from now it could be doing a lot better once the buying and selling pressure is started to shift with people on the exchanges. Because you also need to remember that they're releasing in cycles for this coin. It's not like all of the coins are already out. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this real quick one more time. If I could actually see my little dot there, that'd be great. And let's go ahead and pull it down. I just want to see a little bit more in this range that we're at. Let's just pull it right here before that big dump took place. Okay, zooming in on this. Where are we kind of at? To be honest with you, this doesn't feel that reliable right there. Just trying to look where things kind of line up a little bit. We're seeing closes and openings taking place, falling a little bit in this range. A lot of it here is actually in a kind of a consolidated space between the 0.618 and the 0.786. If that was to occur, so let's say we pass the 0.5 level at 30 cents, then I would say the next level here would be, let's break above 0.618 or 32 cents, above the 21 EMA 34 cents, and then hopefully getting around the 36 cent range. Volume has been decreasing quite a bit, just a little bit of an uptick here. You can actually see it's dropped down like this and started to curve itself up, but not very much. Volume overall is still very, very low. So this is one of those projects where if somebody just decides to step in and create a rally on this thing, we could see massive, massive gains. Massive, massive drops. It doesn't really have much more to be able to drop down at this point. So could it happen? Yeah. Do I hope that it will happen? At this point, no, I don't want it to drop anymore. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. In my opinion, from this stance as it is right now, it has room to be able to bounce back up. We saw 4 days in a row of red, and I think that there's better odds that it's going to stay on a green perspective, but it is also, from this point of view, pretty close to that 0.382. So if it drops below that, it might even go back down to this 0.236 range, around 23 cents. It's got an entire zone, and it seems like it wants to, once it passes through here, it basically just wants to fill the exact next area. See, it goes all the way down. Some people fight against it. Then the next day it goes all the way down through it, comes right back up, fights against it. It's really like a 50-50 situation on this point of view right now for me. It's so hard. I wasn't really expecting it to drop this much. I was expecting it to be bearish, as I talked about in my previous videos, but that's a pretty sizable drop for a single day, in my opinion. But yeah, guys, anyways, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so you can get more information on Orchid. I talk about some of the other independent altcoins as well, some of the news that's going on in the industry space. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please don't forget to hit like, drop a comment down below. Apparently somebody subscribed, so thank you for that. I'm not even live streaming right now. Thank you guys. And let me know your takeaway on all this in the comments down below. And I'll see you in the next video.